when we do an audit is this is the Google My Business. So as I said, that was what I first saw, right? That's good. There it's sitting up there now, and it's even got our cover image the way it should be. It's got your logo sitting down in there as well. Clearly what will happen over time is you'll start to get some reviews and all that sort of stuff happening as well. So that's all good. But the reason that we do this is just to see what else happens. And that's why I was saying to you, it was interesting to note that that the ad sits up above it. But the good thing for you is it's your ad, right? It's not somebody else. It's not another. It's not another mob competing with you or that sort of thing, which we often see with others, right? So at least for your name under that laundry services, no one else is trying to grab that space from you, if you know what I mean, because that's what can often happen is you'll get others advertising. Clearly at the moment, most of the other stuff that's probably going to come up is, once we get down to here, so you got Seek Business. That's interesting because that's probably something you advertised on as well for people, for franchises.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so what you'd expect to see, and then you start to get into gyms, cleaning, and some of the other things.
Too. Look at that scoop on flash sale.
Yeah, right. Is that you as well?
Yeah, that's something we're advertising through to at the moment.
Yeah, so that's what you'd kind of expect when you haven't got any socials and stuff coming up at the moment. So what you'd expect once you've got some socials, some of your socials will start to work along the lines of there, and they'll also push up and become a bit more searchable for you too. Often, for instance, if Bill Kobanoglu had his LinkedIn associated with it, you'd actually find that would probably rate quite highly as well. In the same way as, Jim down here is rating for dry cleaning, for instance.
Okay.
So, and that's probably just because of the association with Jim. Now we've sort of, I think I would have talked to you. The thing I was on your at the moment when we click on the Google My Business, maybe it was the ad, right? So, but it does take you straight to the book. When I click through, I can't remember whether it was. I reckon it must have been the ad, right?
It probably was our ad.
I reckon it was the ad, because I think the other one we set up to go to the actual website. The only hesitancy I always have around if it goes straight to the book, if they then want to know anything more, there's nothing on there. You know what I mean? But having said that, I don't dare tell people what, realistically, if they know what they're in for and they want to book a laundry service, then, then go with that. Clearly what they can normally do is navigate away from that. But certainly when we're doing ads, we're generally taking through people to the website where they can the specific page that we're talking about, right? Whether it's a service or an offer or a book now, that sort of thing. And clearly, as we mentioned last time, you're kind of going to have a sort of, I would imagine, a posting schedule that would be split between a post going to the consumer and a post going to a potential franchise partner. And, I was thinking, again, I don't think you need to do that at a high level. I just think you might do a Monday post to one person, Tuesday to the other target audience. Wednesday, you might just be more in engaging and making sure that you're engaging with others, and then Thursday, Friday, flip it about again. So that's all I was thinking. And clearly, as I think I might have mentioned last time, once you've got your socials, you'd want all your 6 socials potentially. I know they're sitting at the bottom at the moment. We talked about whether or not they could maybe be put up the top and clearly opening to new.
So when you set that up for us, Steve, will you then let us know so then I can then engage Wes and tell?
Sorry, yeah, exactly. So that's exactly what Wes does. Yeah, so Wes just goes, okay, easy, just plonk it on this part. And we sort of mentioned, I think, last time about plugins and that sort of stuff that you could easily put on the website as well. One, to measure sort of the flares, how many people are visiting, but also sort of to show who's following the page and that sort of stuff. And you're quite right, Wes does that for many of the ones we've worked with.
We didn't go into detail or talk about that, and I guess I need to know, because I've got a pen and paper in front of me right now, what action items that I'm being responsible for. Do I need to tell Wes to do that?
Yeah, no, not at the moment. So it's something that when we do the setup session, once we've created them all, we need to create them first. Once they're created, in your case, realistically, we can just share that with Wes. So realistically, I'll just instruct Wes basically what he needs to do.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that way it'll all work in tandem. Yep.
Yeah, we've got Wes on like a maintenance kind of thing, the same type of thing. So
Yeah.
I feel comfortable with you being able to just remove the middleman.
Yeah.
You can see me on an email or something like that, but I'm happy for you to provide that instruction directly to Wes.
Yeah, I use Wes in the same way, to be honest. So Wes also does that with me. Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, no, that will make things easier, and we all know that realistically he'll do that within your plan. That's not going to cost you any extra. That's pretty simple stuff for him. So here, I don't know if this may be you, Sharon. I'm not sure. Sharon De Leon.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we need to make you. We need to make you and Bill the best representatives you can be of this business, right? So that's what we'd hope to do, right? And that's not too hard, because even the two people sitting in front of me, branded, just a photo. I think real estate people tell you to take a photo slightly higher. It doesn't work for me, because you get, particularly if I don't have the beanie on, you might get flashlight back again. But yeah, realistically, a nice, what we want you to be is just good representatives of the brand, right? So then the other thing I was looking at for Jim's laundry services, the good thing is, there's nothing to suggest that there's anything on LinkedIn around that name at the moment. So that should be an easy one for us to grab and hold and have for ourselves. Clearly, when you do put it in there, the Jim's group comes up, right? And so I would imagine you guys would almost wear two hats, right? Because you'd be part of the Jim's group, perhaps on one of the sort of hats, particularly you, Bill, where you've been involved for a long time. And then you'd also be whatever the titles are around the Jim's laundry services, right? And that's okay. Lots of people have multiple hats, right? Because they're doing different things. So, and particularly in your case, it's actually really important probably to explain people what part and what chunk, you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it will, like I was saying to you before, it's not something that I can tell that other gyms necessarily, like gyms building inspections or others are doing, you know what I mean? So it will be a good exercise. At the moment, same with Jim's laundry service. At the moment, you put that in, nothing comes up really around Jim's laundry. All you get is Jim's dog wash is interesting. That's the one that comes up the biggest. And then beyond that, it's actually the Jim's dog washers, which is actually the ones that come up.
Surprising, Sharon. She's pretty heavy on Facebook.
True.
Brandon.
And then clearly, Jim's group itself. As I've said to you before, we always, you're still going to be part of that. I know the relationship. We want to make something of that relationship. So again, whenever there's these other brands involved, you want to make sure that you get the best of that brand, but you want to make sure that it's being funneled into you, so that you're going to get your best outcomes as well, right? So we want to use the strength of the brand, but we don't want it to overpower the Jim's laundry services brand, right? For the purpose of what we're doing here. And as I said, particularly Joel and Jim are using a very brand effort, which is kind of, you market from the top down rather than win from the bottom up. Yeah, I kind of want to win from the bottom up. And similarly, Jim's laundry service, again, looks like going to be very easy for us to grab it on Instagram. This one is here, right? So that naming convention be very straightforward. Instagram's the only one that doesn't have a cover. In fact, I thought they were doing a pretty reasonable fist of the Instagram on Jim's group, because as I think I said to you last time, we don't generally use any of this sort of stuff. We just use that sort of imagery stuff, right? So which we think resonates a lot better with your target audience on the different channels. So because people want to see real people, real images, not just sort of what can feel like a little bit selling. So Jim, this is Twitter. So Jim's laundry service, I was actually interested, it's never been mentioned. So there's nothing around that. So in other words, again, what we'd probably need to do, Jim's laundry, is because the only thing with Twitter is your character limit. So we'd call it Jim's laundry services, but the actual URL might finish up having to be Jim's laundry, because you've got 15 characters, I think. It's JIMSLAUNDRY.
Yeah.
And then services, SERV would be too much. So yeah. So I would so I would go, probably the other thing you could do, actually, is the website jimslaundryservices.com? What's the website?
Yeah.
.com.au.
Yeah,
.com.au, yeah. Yeah, so it's got the full name. Anyway, as I said, what we'll do is we'll work around the best 15 characters we can get for you realistically. We'd probably just, I think we'd go Jim's Laundry. We may go Jim's Laundry AU, for instance, just to sort of so people know it's Australia. And then, so Twitter Jim is actually, I was interested for somebody like Jim's, the fact that they really don't have much of a Twitter presence, so, and often, I think I said to you last time, the only way really you can build a following is to follow others. Well, one of the reasons they probably don't have much of a presence, they don't follow too many others. So it's just in the sort of low 100. And then this is what you did previously. So that Google My Business, this is what I was saying to you. It's that map now that you would use as your Google icon. You might even with Wes, actually no, there'd be no advantage to you doing that on the brand site. But yeah, you would have that logo because the Google Place, which is what comes up if you click on share. It actually gives you the detail, which is how people can review the service, right? So you can be saying, how did we do today? Here's our link, for customers and others that are using the service. And again, with YouTube, which I think I said to you last time, YouTube, clearly there's a bit around the Jim's group, but to create a Jim's Laundry Services, it's just another Google product. It just gives you another landing page. And if you do finish up doing some video, then you're going to put it onto your one, and then it'll help again from a search perspective. Yep. So that is that side of things. Anything about anything?
Yeah, but isn't graffiti a division?
No.
So they've used our image for another division. That's what I mean.
Oh, they have too.
They've just put it under the Jim's group. So it's the Jim's group, and it's got Jim's Graffiti Services.
No, I think they're just making it as a joke. I think they've made it as a joke, and then when you watch that video, it's about what you had done.
So is that your?
Yeah,
that's the back wall here.
Oh yeah. Sweet.
And we've actually got some video content. We actually already have maybe 3 or so videos that we can use for content.
Oh, awesome. And they'd be the ones that you'd probably want to use for promotion as well, right? So those videos, who are they aimed at?
Just talking about the brand. It's a new division.
Okay.
And then there's a little bit of a video in there and asks me why and who the target market is and what sort of service do we provide. It doesn't go too long, but it's actually something.
Yeah, we definitely want to probably load. Well, we definitely want to load it to YouTube, but we'd also definitely want to load it to the social media, particularly Facebook page as well. And it's probably something we'd promote early doors, just to get people out so that they do get that recognition and understand that this is a new one that's out there now. Yeah. Cool. And I think this sort of stuff we spoke about last time. So in terms of why we do what we do, right? So the first thing is to create those 6 different sites. We just want to. Actually, I'll make this a bit bigger for you because I can see you leaning in. Hang on. Let's go here.
7.
Actually, maybe.
Yeah, I know. I want to see you do a TikTok.
Yeah.
So, firstly, it's about protecting the brand and building equity in that brand, right? So, essentially, you'll have 5 new channels that you don't currently have. And it just means that others can't really take away from that, right? So, and as you were saying before, it does, even with the Jim's group, if someone else is using it, you kind of want to you'll have an idea that, you'll be able to say, hey, that's ours. You know what I mean? So, depending on what it is. But ultimately, that'll differentiate you from other people running similar services because more often than not, they won't have those 5 channels. And clearly what we want them to be is all very consistent in terms of the look, the wording, the way that they, the messaging that we're putting out there, with the intent being twofold, right? We want to be top of mind with the people that already know that this is happening. Clearly, to start with, there's not going to be that many people that know, right? And then the second thing is we want to increase that by getting more people knowing. So there's the 2 ways that we do that is really we do some relationship building, and that's about following others both individually. That's where it's important to get your LinkedIn one up to scratch, because you become a bit of a you are spokespeople for the brand and the business, but also then just connecting with other strategic others, if you like, the sorts of businesses that you worked with, the sorts of businesses that you want to work with, the sorts of probably the other gyms businesses, that sort of thing. So they're familiar with it as well, right? So, and then the sorts of people that are going to be interested in buying a franchise, a good franchise, right? So that's the business opportunity side of things. And the way that we do it is we create them, as I said, that's that 3-hour sort of session, and then we have a 2-hour planning session. And then as far as the management, we use a scheduler called Publer, and we basically schedule across the 5 different accounts with a habit, basically, so that you're constantly reminding people this is a service you offer, reminding people this is a business that they might be interested in getting involved with, right? So,
Sure.
And then clearly we do a report monthly for small business, every second month for extra small businesses. Yeah, and so in actual fact, and then we even have an offer now, which may be relevant further down the line if we finish up doing different outlets where we just do 2 posts a week. We're actually reporting every 4 months. So that's for those really sort of penny wise maybe type businesses. So this one here this is preparing audit, doing this. We generally do this on the basis that we don't want everybody coming at us for audit and consults. So 50% of this is waivable. And that's what I was sort of saying to you before, that the hour that we spent sort of last week, I'm happy to tip that into here and basically, we just do it as a 45-minute consult. So effectively it would just be the $203.50. And then if we progress, we move on. So for businesses where we, and this does happen, right? In fact, I had one this week, which was an online bookstore where we did the audit and consult. And in fact, there was a young guy in a digital agency that's trying to get his parents' business on using it. And I think effectively it was like having Chinese whispers, and they just couldn't get their head around. They're all going on holidays. I think they're in lockdown because it was up past Sydney. And it just wasn't timely. So effectively, they paid the audit and consult on the basis that they might come back in a few months' time, and then we'll take $203.50 off when they come back, basically. But anyway, sometimes it is that people just do the audit and consult, and at least they feel like they're kind of on their way. As you said, then the only issue is if they do the audit and consult, then they have a crack at doing them themselves, then often they come back to me again to help fix things up again, right? So anyway, what do they say? Imitation is a good form of flattery. So yeah, basically that 5-hour day is what it is. So effectively $1,017.50. And we generally do that as one full day. I don't know how you guys are placed to do that. I know you're both really busy. We can break it up into one 3-hour day and then do a follow-up 2-hour day.
Depending on when.
Yeah, I doubt Bill needs to be part of it. So I think that I will just block out. We'll just pick a day that works for both of us. Yeah. I think it has to be.
And then the other thing, Bill, or maybe what we could do is, even if Bill was there just for that first little bit, so we could judge Bill as well on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn stuff, yeah.
And we'll record it all anyway if he ever wants to relive the magic.
He'll most likely be kind of. It'll be we'll do it on a day where Bill will be in and out, so even at any time he can kind of come in with sidebar questions.
Are you saying dropping in or still over Zoom?
I can come in, but realistically,
it's done over Zoom. Okay,
it's almost easier done this way, just because. Otherwise I'm sort of looking over shoulder and we're virtually doing the same thing, right? So in many ways, because we do it on we want to make sure that it's your asset, it's sitting on, so that Sharon is completely comfortable knowing how to get in, and there's certain things you can do. This is often the question people ask, well, what do I have to do? The reality is there is a little bit of homework that I suggest to people that they do to get the best out of this, right? Mainly it's around connecting with others, both as the business and as yourselves, right? And just some interaction with the posts. And there's nothing to stop you from doing additional posts. If it's Bill's 20th anniversary in the gyms group, then that's a great post, right? And you can either give it to me to share, or you can share it yourself, because real-time posts often are the best, right? So, so yeah, there's a little bit that you can do to help yourself help us, yeah. But in the main, there's not too much to do, I guess. It's fair to say, right? We basically look after it. But also the other point that you were sort of saying, even on the day for you, Sharon, if, realistically, often people are having to still field calls, or there's little things that will crop up. It's not like we need you in front of the computer and you can't be interrupted, right? So there's always going to be things that I'm going to be able to do while we're doing the session to actually, finish things off and all that sort of stuff, right? So, so it's just a matter. Usually for us, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays are best days. It's just a matter of working out what would suit you best, realistically, if that's the case. And as I said, I'm sort of suggesting for you, just knowing that you've got 2 target audiences, and because we're sort of, I don't see you at this stage, because it is kind of startup, so I don't see you as the small to medium. I still see you as that small business, because you're starting out, just to do it almost a daily post, but swapping it between trying to get franchisors and then trying to get more customers, right? And I think your advertising would have to align itself that way as too, right? You'd basically probably run an ad, and I don't know how you're doing your Google ads, but certainly from a social media perspective, they're 2 very different audiences, right? That you're going to want to target. So one is a business owner interested in running a business. Another is somebody either domestically or if you want commercially, that is wanting to get their laundry serviced, right? So yeah. So
I've not yet developed I tried it many years ago, an effective Google Ads campaign for franchise inquiries. I've only been doing it through Seek or Facebook or different things like that. I in all honesty, I'll have to think about it, because I'm not even sure. So many of the keywords are the same, things like, for instance, laundry services or home businesses or working from. I don't know. I'd have to kind of play around.
I do that though, in terms of the Facebook ad. So we do that with you, basically. Yeah. So I'm pretty clear how we approach that. The other thing is, if you've not been doing it in the past, it's something you might want to consider. But when I advertise for marketers, I've done it a couple of times. 80% of the inquiry came as a result of the LinkedIn ad, and LinkedIn is a lot cheaper, and 100% of the recruitment came as a result of LinkedIn, not Seek. But we're different fields, right? So there is an element of LinkedIn is clearly an online. It's not too far from what I do. It is part of what I do, but not. I don't run LinkedIn ads, because as businesses, to run LinkedIn ads, they're not actually very effective. They're quite expensive. But running your job recruitment ads is not expensive by comparison to Seek. It's something to consider at some point too.
The only thing there is, I think the type of person that we're after in the field probably won't go through LinkedIn for a franchise, whereas someone that your field, more professional.
Maybe. I think the thing is that I'd be interested. Well, I think the thing is the reality will be is, once you've got Jim's Laundry Services as a company, it'll be an option for you. And look, a lot of people, as you said, for the blue collar, a lot of people swear by Facebook jobs nowadays, right? And so, whereas that would never cut it in my industry, but basically, as you said, for certain industries it can work. So it'll just be a matter of knowing that you've got these resources that you can use if that's the way you choose to use them, right? So
I guess we go anywhere and everywhere to get a sale. That's the way I look at it. If I can get one sale from different ads each time, We just keep running.
And look, and similarly with because you do a lot of just gyms at every franchise expo and all that sort of stuff and that sort of thing too. Do you do expo stuff, or how do you?
I've expo for about 10 years. I just don't think they work. It's like there's so much there that it confuses people.
Yeah.
You're all a seagull over a chip type scenario. So, and they look at cheaper options and so forth. Like if they taste brands, they'll actually see that the brand is powerful and all that. But a lot of them just go there and walk around, and by the time they get home, it's like a show. Like they've gone to the show, they've got all these bags, and they end up in the bin anyway. So,
well, presumably you've got a bit of you've got the prescription anyway, don't you? As a business, let's face it. So and you've been involved a long time to know too. Yeah. So no, that's all good. It just probably might be a couple of little things that, as Sharon was sort of saying, that where you finish up, just testing a couple of things and seeing how that plays.
And there's nothing bad about having us everywhere.
No, not at all. Not at all.
It's good. I think it's going. I was actually speaking. We've just got a Jim's who came along. He's going to join my local business network. He's and I think he did know of you. He's just joined the residential. Jim's.
What's his name?
Jim's Building Inspections, and you know what? His name's just escapes me. He's out in Melton. Mark Kozak or something like that, maybe. Mark Kozak.
So everybody knows Bill.
Everybody knows Bill. So there you go. I think it was Bill. Yeah, that he may well have known. Awesome. Yeah. So any questions around that in terms of? I think we probably talked quite a little bit about it last time, didn't we? But yeah.
Can I just ask? Sorry, there is one question. If we hypothetically got this up and going, starting next week for that 5 hours the introduction and getting all the information and all that, how soon do you think we will start seeing some noise from all this? How much more content and information building and stuff like that do we need to be? Where are we looking at with this?
Yeah, that's the number one inquiry that I always get, because that's thinking it like a leads magnet. Social media works a little bit different, right? So there is the answer to your question is return on investment for us is eyeballs, which is something you need at the moment, right? In terms of it's a new brand. So what I know is that in the first month reporting, even if we were just spending $5 a day on ads, and I imagine that's pretty light on compared to other stuffs you've done in the past, right? And I know it all adds up because we got us managing and that sort of thing too. But realistically, you will get tens of thousands of people seeing your posts every month, right? That's the first thing, right, to be aware of. You'll get in the thousands probably engaging, depending on if we're doing a video post, engagement, watching the video in class as an engagement, that you'll probably get more than 1,000 people watching videos and stuff every month, just at a $5 spend and with the habit, right? And then because of the pixel that we put on the website, we kind of know what sort of traffic's going to happen as well. So if you're doing stuff with Wes, that will also tell us it's an overall thing. So it's not just because of Facebook, right? And it's not just because of LinkedIn and the other things. But what you will see is, and what you would expect to see, is a notable amount of extra traffic that's coming in there in the hundreds and into thousands because of the habit and the ads, right? Sure. So that's the answer to your question. Remembering that I don't handle the conversion because I don't hold the website. Yep. So, but in your world, it'll be pretty evident for you, I think, right? So it'll be pretty evident that if you've seen it before with all the other elements, you've been involved with other parts of the gym's business, right? So you know that if you're getting visibility, because we don't really care how they contact you, right? If they contact you because they see a post, great. If they contact you because they go through to the website, awesome. And most people, if they're going to buy a franchise, well, that's probably what they'll do. They won't buy it off a post, right? They're going to go to the website, find out more and all that sort of stuff, right? So ultimately, you'll probably tell us. I'll be telling you how many people are looking at stuff, but hopefully you'll be telling me
how many people have gone through the website.
Steve, I'll know. Between Wes and myself, we'll know how many people are going through because the flares tell us that, right? What you'll then be saying is, hey, we're busy as, or we're getting some inquiry, it's coming through, so that's what we want to hear, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so yeah, that's probably the answer. And realistically, as I said, we can always chop and change if we need to as well, the way that we apply things. But in the main, the next question people often ask me is around, because what else could we do differently? Generally speaking, the best thing you would do differently is spend more on the ad. It's often the most. If you've got a good ad, a good offer, and it's a compelling, whether it's for the franchise, you might look at doing $5 a day towards the consumer and $5 a day towards the franchise partner, for instance. If that's working, then you generally spend more. That's the reality. Is this if you want to get more eyeballs, more traffic, then the reality is spend a bit more. And then if you do move into that world, and again, I don't know what Jim does, because clearly they've got their act together around the digital spend, I think, right? So, but what we tend to do is once people move into $15 or more a day, then we have a relationship with Reach Local, and if they want to speak to Reach Local, they can always speak to Reach Local, and they'll look at what industries typically spend, right? So
Reach Local's still around.
Yeah, they are. They're actually, and I don't know.
They were good about 10 years ago, and then they got caught out doing the wrong thing, didn't they? A lot of the staff that used to work with him, now one works at Census, the other one's got his own company.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I've only known of them more recently, right? So I came across them probably, I reckon, 6 to 12 months ago, and I didn't really know of them, but I think what you're saying, I did kind of know of them in the background maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and you could and it could be that you're right. And I think they've had to do a lot, and I don't know when they got bought out. They've been bought out by USA Today, right? So effectively, but in Melbourne they have like 24 people alone, right? And they're now, and they work with National Australia Bank and all sorts, right? So now, I think, as you said, there's probably some, what do they call it, when there's probably some background noise from many years ago, but I also think it may well be a very different business now and a very different model. So it's certainly, as I said, in my knowledge of that, that would be the case. It's funny you say that, though, because there was a dentist that came to me recently, and I shared our contact is a guy called Jeff Cleworth, and he basically said, I think they might have done something back with us 7 or 8 years ago, and they did get some good results, but the reality is, as you said, I don't know if stuff's changed since then, or whatever. But anyway, all I know is that they seem to work for the ones that we're working with at the moment anyway.
Sure. Yeah. All right, Karen, you said Thursday, but not Tuesday?
No? We didn't do this, so.
Thursday next week would be great.
No, I'd rather do Thursday. The beginning of the weeks are bad for me. Can we do next Thursday?
I'm just going to check, but
no, he's going to be doing it. Like, we're going to be doing it, creating it all then.
Yeah, anecdotally, Thursday next week is much better for me as well, I think. So,
you got outvoted, Bill. You got outvoted.
Yeah, I am. Are we okay? Would be okay to start around? I've just got something at 3 o'clock. So if we were to sort of start about 9:15, something like that.
I can do that. I'll just come in because it's still school holidays, so I can come in.
Yeah, is that okay by you?
No, yeah, it's fine by me. Fine by Bill.
Awesome. I'll do as we've done previously. We'll do a calendar invite. I'll share some stuff with you in Basecamp, which is our project management stuff that we've got as well. I'll put this video on. And basically what you'll get, though, Sharon, and it's not to freak you out, it's just a checklist of what we're going to go through, right?
That's right.
And the good news for us, Google My Business, we've already got covered, so we don't have to worry. That part of things will be okay. I don't, having said that, there might be a few little things that I'll talk to you about to make it better. All right. So,
and and I just want to be clear, when you say, because I know we're going to have the setup and then the planning, when you make suggestions, if I say, yes, that's a great idea, let's do it, it's not going to be like we can then do it. We don't have to, it's not going to be homework for me to have to do later on.
No, there's very little homework that you have.
Okay.
As I said, it's not, the homework that you have is actually easy, and I think you'll enjoy. It's good it's just good for the business. And not just that, any homework that you have, when we're reporting, I'll remind people, right? It's fairly simple stuff. It's just about engaging and connecting a little bit. That's all. We do all the management and we're monitoring and reporting and all that sort of stuff. It's just as a representative of the business, there's certain things that you and Bill can do that makes it stronger than if Steve Hubbard's doing it, right? Because I'm not known to the business as such.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, no, I'm really excited about it, actually. So I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to be involved. I'm really pleased that Wes has put us together.
Thanks, Wes. Seems like we're just following people now. We started off with what was the lady's name? We've started off with. Have you met Irene? Do you know Irene?
Irene.
She does copywriting.
Actually, I do. Irene, I know. She's copywriting and IT sort of thing. I do know Irene,
I met Irene.
Haven't seen her for ages.
Yeah, I met Irene at BNI. We caught up and she's helped us with a few tenders in the past.
She created the content.
She created the content for my LinkedIn. So
and the Facebook. I'm sorry, for the laundry website. She created
the laundry website as well. So, but she gets in businesses, builds them up, and then sells them. She's actually an engineer. She's very
bit of a gun. No, I was going to say, I actually remember doing a real estate business at one stage that Irene had set up, because I think she's very capable, right? But she'd set up clearly the way that she knows how to set up. And so it was like, okay, I'm not sure who that, and because Irene's a lovely person, right? If it wasn't Irene, I would have looked at it and gone, oh, that's a bit, she's not the owner. You're the owner, but she'd clearly done certain things in ways that she knew how to do it, because she'd trained herself to do things. So I think she's, as you said, she's probably entrepreneurial and fairly clever around stuff and all sorts of stuff. So
then Irene passed this on to Wes.
There you go.
So that's great.
Irene and Wes were good friends as well. There you are. And Irene is a good person to know around that copywriting, but I think, as you said, also technically she's quite strong around certain things at times too.
We spoke to Joel at the very beginning about website and stuff like that, and he passed us on to this company called.
Who was that? They were.
I see him on LinkedIn posting a lot, and he was like, because when you refer someone, they think they've already come to me. No way, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
He just acted too confident. So then when I
didn't any attention at all.
It was just like, fill this out, it'll be done in 5 weeks. I said, no, mate, I need it done in 3. And Wes thankfully said, look, let's do it. And he's been able to meet all our kind of needs and demands, and that's why we'll stick with him, because he's easy to talk to, understands, and he's quite easy to get along with. So that's the type of people that we're after. The other mob, like I said, seemed like he was too cocky, and we don't want to do business.
We didn't feel important.
There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in online, and so I get people. I don't know. I'm sure it wasn't, and not that I know them very well, but King Kong. I get a number of people where they've been completely burnt by certain agencies. The promise and charge, particularly trades, they whack. And people don't really know. And you mentioned before, even censors to a degree do that, right? So in terms of yellow, they'll charge you a stack, but you kind of don't really necessarily know where it's all going. And typically it's all ads. It's just ads. They don't really do any of the relationships.
I actually went to court with censors, and I reckon I'm the only guy that's beaten them.
Oh, did you? Good.
They years ago, when the Yellow Pages book was out, I had the back cover for Adelaide, and without my consent, they changed the 131546 number, which is what Jim's known for, to a 1300 tracking number, and they went to print. And no one wanted that. So when we went to court, they said, they stuffed up and they walked out. And it was a $50,000 deal, so it was a lot of money. So and that's with them too. They're too cocky. They think that they've got all the answers.
Yeah, it's got to be this.
You can't even ask them a question. It's just like, this is the way it's on. We said, hold on, it's our money. So we want to know what's going on as well. So that's sometimes it's best not to deal with big people. And talking about reach local, is when you said reach local, I kind of took a step back thinking, no, I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, because if that's the same thing, yeah,
well, like, change. So
yeah, well, and as I said, I say it with some reservation, more on the basis that a lot of the reach local stuff, I think Jim's group would be doing anyway. And they would have their own mechanics around that sort of digital and stuff. It's just for me. It's when I often get people come to me and they'll say they're not interested in what I really do. They just want to spend a shitload of money on ads and not really care about relationships. And as I said, I'll often then just go and I would point them to somebody that I do know. I have a personal relationship there now that I do at least trust, as you said. So then what you were saying, they'd be letting me down if they didn't look after them. And in a way, it's not dissimilar to Wes and I, right? So we kind of know that, well, hey, if we work together, we're not going to let each other down because people will generally, on time. It's actually the first thing I think I said to you, Sharon, kind of that depth of relationship where, hey, don't give me your Google details yet. I don't want to know, as I said. With relationship comes great trust. And I'm thinking,
I like scared him. I committed too quickly.
We might end up hearing yourself.
Yeah, so that's it. So I appreciate every introduction we get, and as I said, and the opportunity to work with new and different people is always great to do the best we can.
All right, excellent.
Well, I will move ahead then for next Thursday, and hopefully you'll stay well in between times then, Sharon.
Yeah, no, I'll be good. Awesome. Not allowed to be sick.